Okay, Mike Masato, CEO of Staff Driven Dental and the Dental Road Warrior, returning for episode 118 in the series. So today we're going to talk about what your exit strategy, docs from brackets, shouldn't be. Right? And this was inspired by a recent conversation had with a great doctor who I've known for a lot of years, consider him a friend, worked with us many years ago, come back around, small dental world. As it is here in New Jersey, so we're connected to a lot of people. It's you see the same doctors again and again, and they all know each other, and in a small geographic area, relatively speaking. And just from where I'm recording this is about 16,000 or so licensed dentists in about a 100-mile radius. So you can imagine the competition, how many doctors there are, how many people know each other, etc. But anyway, I got back in touch with this doctor. We were talking, and challenges with staff and making some changes and needing to really address these issues and really around management. And I said, the loaded question I like to ask doctors who have been at it for a while and they're getting to the into these later stages of their career. And this guy is by no means old. Basically, what is your exit strategy? And the response to me was, well, my exit strategy is probably going to be just me keeling over at the chair. Meaning I'm just going to collapse to the chair one day and I'm in the middle of a procedure, and that's going to be end of my exit strategy. So look, I know that conversation is probably he was being facetious a little bit about it because probably thinking that this is the only way it's going to be, because I got to work until I die, because I don't see any other way of making it happen and making it work to make ends meet, make the money I need to retire with. And why do we get there? Why do we get in this mental state where the only way we're going to make it, right, is to continue to work harder, work more, keep trying different things, see if it works out, and all that. So, and that's not the way to go. You wouldn't do this with dentistry clinically. If you didn't have an answer for something clinically to try to figure it out, you'd get the skills. You go out and learn the skills to get better at your craft, so you can better take care of your patients. Well, the same thing goes with your business. There's a long game and there's a short game. The short game played well gets you to the long game. And the short game is, what are you doing now, with the end in mind? Because we in dentists are notorious for tunnel vision, and it's like an analogy and almost like a metaphor, like the tunnel being in the mouth, like you're just down in the mouth looking at it like with blinders on all the time, and to the exclusion of all else of what's going on in your practice and your world. And then the day is over, and then we take on all the other things that we don't need to be taking on. You shouldn't be taking on. That's what you pay your team for, at least what you should be paying your team for, to be surrounded by professionally, well-trained individuals who will get the job done for you, so you don't have to do all this work and you just do what you're great at. But a lot of times you get in this mode where you feel like, no one can do it better than me. I got to do it myself. I can't trust anyone. I've been screwed over before by team, staff members, and they haven't done me right. So, I'm going to do everything. And that's really the sure route to misery. That's not going to get you where you want to be. It's not going to have quality of life. There's a lot more to life than, making money. It's obviously quality of life, family, friends, home life, your wife, your spouse, significant others, whatever. This is all important, and it's also a priority. So, but again, your practice should serve you in that way. And you have the ability to cause your practice to go the way you want it to go. And working on the practice to, get you to the end goal, like what is the end goal? What do you want to have at the end there? It's something you should be planning on now. So even if people say, well, I'm not ready for retirement. Well, how old are you? I'm in my 50s. You're there. It doesn't mean like you're going to retire in a couple of years, but let's say you want to retire in your 60s. What's the final next several years look like? Because if you're going to transition to maybe find an associate or bringing a partner in, getting all your ducks in a row financially so the practice finishes on top, and it all looks good on paper, whether you're going to sell to a DSO or sell to a private buyer, it starts now. And a lot of practices that have been in the hole for so long or behind the eight ball are going to take some years to dig out of it as well. So it starts really now looking long, and I really got to get you guys to start looking at things the long game. So when it gets to you're just going to say, well, I'm just going to work till I can't work anymore, right? And you don't want to be in a situation because you have to work. You work because you want to work, because you love what you do. You have a passion for what you do, but we lose that passion. You lose that passion because of the crap of dentistry, right? The business part of dentistry, the people part of dentistry. Staffing continues to be a number one issue for most doctors that I'm talking to. There is an art and science to hiring team. I've gone over this many times. Get help doing this. It's okay to get professional help. I don't mean therapy. And I do a lot of therapy. I do work with a lot of doctors, coaching them every day, and helping them, get it in a better headspace about what they're doing, right? Because it is challenging, and that's why you surround your people with people like yourselves, people like that. All the great doctors that are seemingly doing so well. Why can't I be like them? Why can't I do as well as they are? They are basically, they have coaching behind the scenes. They have people helping them get there. But if you want to be in a good, sane mental state, always be looking long. Like what's the plan, the game plan, going to be, and how are we going to get there? Because most of us don't have that plan in place. And it's not working more. It's not doing more of that. It's working, for the expression, working smarter, not harder. The business of dentistry is always evolving. It's always changing. We're in a new era of dentistry right now in business. I've learned it as I got along. My business model and how I coach doctors and how we train offices and teams has changed dramatically in the last 28 years of me doing this. Right? And earlier on, there wasn't anything like, there was barely an internet, and there was no social media, and barely cell phones, and marketing is all changed now. It's all online, and different generation of patients and how they look at healthcare and where they find their healthcare professionals, and different types of people that we are hiring now with different kinds of work ethic. Right? Go on and on. Right? You need to know how to survive and thrive in this environment. Just like, the insurance is always changing. They're always trying to come out a different way, for you to play their game so they can get the best of you. And if you're not on top of the insurance game, it is going to get the best of you, right? So really, as of right now, you should be taking a step back and say, let me reassess my life. Let me reassess. Is it working for me? Right? Is where I am now, am I on the path to getting where I want to go? Because if you can't see an end in sight, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. I don't know how I'm going to get there. I don't know which way it's going to work, how it's going to end up. Time to get some answers. It's time to bring someone into your life who can sit with you, get you out of your head, and start thinking about these things. Because we sit there and we mull about these things, we're in our head about these things, and it just seems to, there's no solution up there. You can roll it around in your head, you can think about it, you can talk to your colleagues, talk to other people. There's everywhere you go on the message boards, to these sites, so they have 1,000 different pieces of advice. Well, what's going to apply best for me? How do you find that out? You bring someone into your life who gets to know you personally, professionally, and your practice personally, professionally, who can give you proper guidance to get you where you want to be in the end, right? And again, that starts now. Right? So again, you have a plan, you execute it, you get there. Of course, there's going to be obstacles and bumps along the way, but you don't let them hold you back, because as I said before, we get to the point where if we get beat down and defeated so many times, we think this is the only way it's got to be. You're in your lab late, you're doing your own instruments, you're going in doing your bookkeeping after I go in on weekends, or I'm bringing work home with me. Well, why do we pay these people if that's the case? We're paying all these people to do that. Why are you still doing all that work? It makes no sense, because ultimately, it's not profitable. It's not good for you. It's not good for your mental, physical well-being, emotional well-being if you're doing all these things. And I know why you do it, and why we think this way. But I need you to start thinking outside the box. If you're listening to this right now, right, and you're not satisfied, not fulfilled, you don't see the end in sight, you don't see how we're going to get there, and how we're going to finish on top, because that's what you want to do. This is your life's work. You've been at this 25, 30, 40 years. Don't you want to finish on top? Don't you want to finish in the best possible place you could possibly be and cash out on top, and ride off into the sunset, knowing that you were successful, you achieved what you wanted to achieve, not only as a clinician in helping other people, but also in business, right? Because that's really, where it's at, and it is part of the equation. And I know a lot of times, it gets bad. You get a bad rap. Oh, that you get criticized for being, focusing too much on business. No, it's not. It's okay to focus on business. It's okay to become a better business person and a better business owner and a business manager and a business executive. That's a good thing, right? That's how you end up on top. That's how your practice is fulfilling and serving you. I do it. I'm always trying to assess and work on myself and my team and my business. It's hard because you get in the mode of helping others all the time and run and gun all the time. It's like, wait a minute, they get off that treadmill once in a while, get off that train and say, wait a minute, I got to take a step back and start looking at these things, right? So are you working on your business, or is it working on you? These are the tough questions to ask yourself. And again, there are resources out there. Reach out to me. You can contact me. There's links to get to me on get a consult anytime. I'm more than happy to help you, give you some advice. It doesn't cost anything to do that. We send people on site to the team's office to do these assessments. Seeing and believing, it's great. is no substitute for being there. But again, you can have a better life in practice, and that's what we're all about. That's what we teach. And like I said, have your exit strategy be one that is positive, fulfilling. It's going to have you end up on top and not end up 6 feet under when it's all said and done. All right. Thanks for listening to these, following these videos, watching these videos. We appreciate it. We appreciate your comments. Appreciate your ideas. And I'll be back with another episode soon.